So when coronavirus hit UK manufacturing, it caused, as we know, an absolute sideswipe for everybody involved. For some people, it meant gearing up to satisfy demand for things like PPE and so on. For other people, it was a precipitous decline in orders, and they had to start thinking about shutting down, laying people off, and so on. So what went through your mind when you realized the full difficulty that was coming down the track? My next guest had a really interesting thought about how to deal with the coronavirus pandemic and the effect it might have on her business. She's Medina Barker. She's owner, co-owner and director at CNC Robotics in Liverpool. Medina, a very warm welcome to you.
Oh, hi Nick, how are you?
I'm just great, thank you. And apparently you guys at CNC Robotics are doing very well too. And I really want to understand what it was you did, your strategy for helping you get through the pandemic and the crisis it entailed for most manufacturers.
One of the key strategies that we've had is to really continue that drumbeat. You know, that messaging that we absolutely are still open for business. I think, you know, it was really conflicting on social media. I saw lots and lots of other manufacturers, you know, in really difficult situations. And I guess there was kind of this outpouring on social media from lots of manufacturers regarding, you know, whether they were going to stay open or whether they were closing. And I think the picture was really kind of mixed from all different sectors. As we know, you know, hospitality in particular was really badly hit. But us as manufacturers, we decided to absolutely keep going with our marketing strategy, to keep creating that awareness. We are still here, we are still automating, and we are still selling. You know, just because our staff were working from home, you know, it didn't mean that we weren't still open to having those conversations about new business, and also to have those conversations with existing customers, that absolutely we are still working and we will work through this, and we will still deliver. I think, you know, at the height of the pandemic, realistically, our backlog was probably a couple of weeks difference. And obviously we've had some really understanding customers. Everybody's been kind of going through this together at the same time. And I think, you know, our key messaging is that we're still open. And I think that's instilled a lot of confidence in new customers, that actually, you know, they're not going to place their trust in us. They're not going to kind of give us their order and then we're going to close the next day. And I absolutely believe 100% that's why we've been winning lots of new business over this period of time.
I think that's a really important piece of advice, because the fact of the matter is that as far as anybody out there who might be thinking of using your services, you don't know if they're worried about your viability, because you'll never get to see them. And this is a really clever way of ensuring that you cast your nets as far and as wide as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think everybody, prior to maybe this pandemic, none of us really probably understood the connection that we have via social media. You know, all of us are using Zoom. Prior to the pandemic, we used Zoom regularly as an organisation anyway. So we were lucky, we'd already been using it, but nowhere near to the extent that obviously loads of us have used it throughout the pandemic. And I think that's key in itself. It's opened up new opportunities for all of us. We don't need to rush down the M6 anymore, you know, drive 4 hours to a meeting, where now we can do that via Zoom. We can have those initial scoping meetings via Zoom. You know, we can talk our customers or potential new customers through our processes, how that's going to work, you know. And I think, yeah, I believe actually this pandemic's opened up a lot of opportunities, and it's about capitalising on those for a lot of us in manufacturing.
Okay, Medina, for those people who don't know what line of business you're in, despite the fact that you have robotics in your company name, tell us what CNC Robotics actually does. So
we do a variety of different things, actually. We automate people's processes. So we use robotic automation, and we will go into a customer's premises or site, and we will look at their manufacturing challenge, and we will enable them to understand how potentially they could automate that, how they could streamline their processes, maybe take out a particular process that's quite dirty or quite kind of laborious, and really walk them through how they can make those transformations. And yeah, we work in a lot of different sectors, right from aerospace, automotive, plastics, composites, right down to the kind of education sector. You know, we've got many systems in universities around the country. We work with prop makers, we work with people who make scenery for TV and film. So realistically, anything that you can think of that would need automating or could benefit from an automated process, that's where we sit, that's what we do.
Has the pandemic crisis changed any of your plans for the business going forward? I know you mentioned that things like going to see people in person may not necessarily be so much of a priority, but has the pandemic forced you to rethink any of your longer term strategies?
For us, what it's done is open up more opportunity. We are fortunate. We understand that we're fortunate, but we also believe that we've created that fortune. You know, we've been consistent. We've kept that drumbeat of marketing going. You know, to really enable customers to see we are still here, we are still working, and actually, you know, over this period, we still managed to employ 5 new people, and we did that via Zoom interviews. And then when it was safe to do so, we kind of had those potential candidates come in for a face-to-face interview, and you know, everything obviously socially distanced. But you know, realistically, I think it's just opened up lots more opportunities. And I think that the people that are surviving, the people that are winning, are those that have been able to capitalise on those opportunities and to really grab them with both hands and be more flexible, be more agile, and work through it.
I was just about to ask you if you had any advice for your fellow manufacturers, and I think you've just delivered it very handsomely indeed. Medina, thank you very much indeed for joining us on Zanuk TV Weekly. Great to have you with us.
Perfect. Thanks, Nick. Lovely to talk to you.
And you. And don't go away now, because in a moment we'll be talking to Jürgen Meyer.